I was halfway up the ladder, zip ties clutched in one hand, the flag of my alma mater, proud, bright, fluttering with school pride, in the other, when I heard this sharp voice behind me, "You can't put that up yet." I froze, not because I thought she was right, but because I was tired. Tired of the pettiness. Tired of micromanaging. Tired of an HOA that seemed less interested in rules and more interested in control. I climbed down, slowly, the flag still clutched tight, heart pounding with a mix of frustration and disbelief, because what started as a harmless little display of pride, something that should have taken 10 minutes, was about to become a month-long battle of passive aggression, bureaucratic nonsense, and a revenge so quiet, so satisfying, that they never even saw it coming. Hey guys, if you've ever dealt with a petty HOA, nosy neighbors, or just love a good story about standing your ground, go ahead and hit that like button. Drop a comment about your own crazy HOA experiences, and of course, don't forget to subscribe if you love stories with a little fire in them. Alright, let's dive into it. So this all started when I decided to fly the flag of my university, my alma mater, off the back deck of my house. Simple enough, right? It wasn't even a big flag. Just your standard 3x5, nothing gaudy. No blinking lights, no booming speakers playing the fight song. Just fabric on a pole. But I loved that flag. That school meant something to me. It reminded me of long nights in the library, lifelong friendships. The first time I really felt like I was becoming me. It was pride. Pure and simple. Now, I live in one of those HOA neighborhoods. You know the type, mailboxes all match, grass can't be taller than a newborn's fingernail, and God forbid your curtains aren't neutrally toned. Still, for the most part, I've managed to keep my head down and avoid conflict. I keep my yard clean. I don't host raggers. I even take my trash bins in on time, every time. So when I decided to put up that flag, I wasn't looking for trouble. I went by the book. My HOA has this application system. If you want to make a change to your home that's not pre-approved, you submit a minor modification request. It's free, which is rare, and surprisingly painless. I filled it out in less than 10 minutes. Where was the flag going? Back deck. What was it? Non-commercial, school-related, not offensive in any way. I even attached a mock-up photo. Now, here's where things get interesting. I'd read the bylaws carefully. I'd learned the hard way that in HOA land, ignorance is not bliss. According to the rules, if you're doing something to the front of your house, you need written acknowledgement from adjacent neighbors. Not permission, just acknowledgement. Just a, "Hey, so-and-so is doing this." Nothing binding, but I wasn't modifying the front. I was installing a flag on the back deck. No visibility from the street. Nothing that would affect curb appeal, neighborhood aesthetics, or whatever buzzword the HOA likes to throw around. So by the book, no neighbor acknowledgement was required, but when I got the response to my application, the HOA rep, let's call her Sandra, because of course her name is Sandra, said, and I quote, "Although the bylaws only specify front-facing modifications, we are requesting that you obtain written acknowledgement from adjacent neighbors for any flag installation, regardless of location." Cue the record scratch. "Excuse me," I responded as politely as I could. I even highlighted the exact line from the bylaws. I asked, very clearly, "Is this a new rule? Or just an internal preference?" Sandra replied within minutes. Cold. Robotic. "It is not a new rule. The board simply prefers to have documentation from neighbors in all cases. So basically, forget the rules. Do it our way." I was stunned. And a little bit insulted. What's the point of having bylaws if they're just gonna vibe their way through decisions? Still, I thought, fine. Whatever. If it's just acknowledgement, and my neighbors can't deny me, I'll just grab the signatures and move on. How hard could it be? Spoiler alert. Very. See, here's the part that really got under my skin. These signatures weren't for permission. My neighbors had zero power to stop me. It was just to prove I'd informed them. But somehow, in the HOA's hands, it became this weird power trip. I live between two neighbors. Let's call them Todd and Carol. Todd is, well, Todd's fine. Kinda keeps to himself. His yard looks like he trims each blade of grass with scissors. But he's harmless. Carol, on the other hand, let's just say if the phrase neighborhood watchdog was a person, it would be Carol. She's the type who reports your recycling bin if it's half an inch off the curb. I once saw her glare at a teenager for having a skateboard in his own driveway. Still, I thought, it's just a signature. She can't say no. Maybe it'll be fine. Narrator, it was not fine that I knocked on Todd's door first. He answered, looked at the paper, nodded once, and signed without a word. Easy. Then came Carol. She opened the door just wide enough for her face to peek through. Her lips were pursed so tight it looked like she was trying to hold in a lemon. I explained everything. Quick, friendly, matter of fact. Her response, oh, I'm not comfortable signing anything until I know what kind of flag you're putting up. I blinked. I included a picture in the application. It's just my university's flag. Nothing political or anything. She crossed her arms. Well, I don't know. Some people say that, but then they put up something inappropriate. I'll need time to think about it. Think about what? It's a non-binding acknowledgement. I tried to explain again, calmly. She cut me off. I'll contact the HOA myself. And slammed the door. Great. A day passed. Then too, I emailed the HOA, asking if they could clarify what happens if a neighbor simply refuses to sign even though they legally can't block it. Their response? We encourage you to work with your neighbors toward resolution. No help. Just vague platitudes. I was furious. Not because I couldn't fly my flag, I still technically could, but because I was being dragged through pointless red tape. I'd followed the rules. And now, someone else's paranoia and the HOA's power tripping had put everything in limbo. But here's the thing, I don't back down. Not when I'm in the right. Not when the rules are on my side. So I started planning. Not an outburst. Not confrontation, something slower, quieter, smarter. First, I documented everything. Every email. Every screenshot. I printed the bylaws. Highlighted the exact clauses. I even talked to a real estate attorney friend who confirmed they can't deny the request based on location alone. A neighbor acknowledgement is not legally required for backup property modifications. Then I did a little digging. Turns out, Carol had recently installed a security camera that technically faced my yard. She claimed it was for her own security, but it caught a good portion of my back deck in its angle. That, in itself, wasn't a violation, but the way she had it mounted? Not in line with the HOA's approved hardware list. Boom. I submitted a quiet inquiry to the HOA. Not a complaint, just a curious homeowner seeking clarification. I asked whether all external camera mounts had to be HOA approved. The reply, yes. I attached a photo. No comment. Just a photo. 3 days later, Carol had to take her camera down and resubmit an application for proper mounting. She didn't know it was me. But she knew someone noticed. That same day, she showed up at my door. No hello. No smile, just a pen. In her hand, I've signed your form. I accepted it with a thank you and the calmest smile I could manage. Then I walked straight to the mailbox and sent off the completed form to Sandra with a copy of the HOA's own highlighted bylaws attached. 2 days later, approved. The flag flew the next morning. Beautiful. Bold. Glorious. I waited for some sort of fallout. A nasty email. A backhanded comment, but none came. Instead, something better did. A few days later, I got a letter, anonymous, but written in neat cursive. It read, "Thank you for standing up. A lot of us are tired of the nonsense. We just didn't know how to fight it." That hit me, because it was never just about the flag. It was about not letting yourself be steamrolled. About knowing the rules, better than the people trying to twist them. About proving that quiet resistance, armed with facts and patience, can win. What I learned through all this, sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or dramatic shouting matches. It's measured. It's calm. It's knowing you've played the long game. That you made your point without stooping to their level. It's the quiet triumph of watching your flag fly high, while your neighbor silently takes down hers. And it's realizing, sometimes doing the right thing means being the first one to take a stand, even if your knees are shaking a little while you do it. So yeah, moral of the story? Read the fine print. Document everything. And never let someone else's pettiness shrink your pride. If you've ever had to go head to head with an HOA or a nosy neighbor, tell me about it in the comments. I live for these stories. And hey, if you like this tale of quiet revenge, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Until then, keep your flags high and your spirits higher.